Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Hi, I'm Terry Naturally. Got pain? Are your muscles aching and crying out for relief? Would you like a safe product without side effects to stop your pain? Curamin is your answer. Curamin is an award-winning formula that relieves pain safely and naturally. Live pain-free and enjoy doing the things you love. Feel the amazing difference with Curamin and make each day a pain-free day. It'll stop your pain or your money back.
Available locally at Healthy Times Market in Vernon. The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sweeney. I've been a player or coach for most of my life, and I understand the need to keep our kids motivated and safe. As a parent and coach, I also understand the need to make sure our children are protected. That's why insurance is as an important part of the game as a good coach is. I've known my fellow coach, Wayne Dietz, for 10 years. I've seen him motivate and inspire players both on and off the floor. I've also seen him make sure that our children are safe by making sure that the teams are properly insured. As a coach, we don't often think about insurance, and when you work with Wayne and his team at D&H Risk Solutions, you won't have to. They take care of everything with honesty and integrity so that you can focus on what you do best, coaching your team to victory.
Welcome back to Vernon Vibes. It's been a while since we've had a chance to visit, and many of you may have been wondering why, but in February, the Murata family takes a vacation, have been doing it now for a long, long time, and Kathy and I and some of our friends and family were able to get together in a warmer climate. So it was a good chance to recharge the batteries, but we're back and we're ready to rock and roll. I'd like to start by calling to your attention that this coming Saturday evening, that being two Saturday evenings from now, that being March 28th, Dogs of Vernon is holding its annual fundraiser, which this year is a beefsteak dinner being provided at the Highland Lakes Firehouse. Now, if any of you have had the opportunity to attend beefsteaks around the county, I can tell you, I've had lots of opportunity to do that over the years as fundraisers and the like, and there is none better than the Highland Lakes Firehouse. And so I would just recommend to you that you put it on your calendar. It's March the 28th. It's at the Highland Lakes Fire Company. Tickets are $40 per person. It's a BYO. If you care to have a beverage with your dinner, bring it. Soda and the like will be provided. There also will be entertainment provided, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a great time. Dogs of Vernon is a group that, as many of you know, has in fact been behind the planning, the implementation, the construction, and the operation of Vernon's Dog Park, which is over on Route 517, and I can tell you that it's great to see a group of people come together, offer that amenity, that service, that addition to the quality of life in Vernon as Dogs of Vernon has, and I'd like to encourage all of us to support them on the 28th and come on out. You can get tickets by contacting Barb Green, who is the president of Dogs of Vernon, and I can tell you that you can get their telephone number or their contacts off of the Vernon Township website or off of the Dogs of Vernon website. So please, put it on your calendar. I know that if you come out, you're going to enjoy yourself. Kathy and I and many of our friends will be there that evening, and it'll give us an opportunity to chat, to enjoy each other's company, and have great food at the same time. I hope to see you there. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Welcome back. As I try to do with each of the Vernon Vibes show is to give you a rundown on the business of the township that has occurred since the last time we've talked. And there's been lots of it, but all of it or I should say the vast majority of it, has led to the introduction and adoption of the 2015 budget for Vernon Township municipal government. Over the last several months, as we've progressed through the process, I've shared with you some of the things that some of the hurdles that we had to overcome in order to deliver to you, again, a budget that will not raise your property taxes. And I'm proud to tell you that through an awful lot of hard work on the part of our department heads, as they reworked their budgets, on the part of our Chief Financial Officer, Elke Yetter, our Business Administrator, Bill Zuckerman, myself, we all worked together to see to it that this budget has the things in it that will keep us moving in the direction that Vernon Township has moved over the last 4 years, which frankly is an improvement in our assets that we own, defined as our roads, our parks, our buildings. We will continue to do that, to upgrade, to improve, and to see to it that our infrastructure here in the town continue to be maintained. We, in addition, as you may know from some of the writings in the local papers, we have more employees in Vernon Township right now than we did when I came here, and that's by design. As a matter of fact, from 108 to 122, if my math is right, that's 14 employees, 9 of which are part-time people. Part-time people who are working very, very effectively to get the job done, and an economy of savings by way of salary and benefits to you, the taxpayers. So what's the bottom line? Let's get to the numbers, if I may. For 2015, it is the intent of Vernon Township to raise by property taxation $15,244,835. And ladies and gentlemen, that actually represents an increase over 2014 in appropriations of $109,529, or 0.7%. And so you say, well, then, how come there's not going to be a tax increase? I will explain that to you, and I think you'll understand how we were able to do that. The total revenue needed to run Vernon Township for local purposes in 2015 is pegged at $23,739,728, down from $24,348,020 in 2014, which is actually an overall reduction of $608,292, or a 2.5% reduction in the actual total revenue needed to run our government in 2015. And so how do we make up the larger part that comes from taxation? It's very simple. Because of the savings that I have talked to you about so many times in the past, and the savings being department heads who don't go out and spend money just to get it spent in fear of not having it there next year, but rather buy only those things that they need after an analysis that identifies priorities. That being said, as our cash fund surplus has increased over the last 4 years, we have been able to use a higher amount to lay against the taxes and keep your tax base down. And so in 2015, $1,400,000 of the $3.3 million in cash fund surplus will be used to offset the tax rate. And once again, this administration, this town council, with the leadership of Mr. Pat Rizzuto and the leadership of Mr. Brian Lynch and the support of Councilman Dick Wetzel, has shown the way. For the 4th year in a row, your property taxes will not increase. I'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, I'm Terry Naturally. Got pain? Are your muscles aching and crying out for relief? Would you like a safe product without side effects to stop your pain? Curament is your answer. Curament is an award-winning formula that relieves pain safely and naturally. Live pain-free and enjoy doing the things you love. Feel the amazing difference with Cureman and make each day a pain-free day. It'll stop your pain or your money back.
Available locally at Healthy Times Market in Vernon. The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. In the last segment, we talked about actually the revenue side of the budget, and now I want to talk to you about the appropriation side and how it actually breaks out. For 2015, for municipal purposes, $16,749,627 are in fact being appropriated, while that happens to be $359,000 more than 2014, or an increase of 2.2%. Anticipated appropriations for others, $1.397 million for Vernon Township MUA, which is up $53,000 from 2014. That number is a pass-through. That's the money that we must collect from the Vernon Township MUA in order to pay the Sussex County MUA for the bonds and the actual flow of sewage down to the treatment plant. And so while it impacts on our budget and we must account for it, it really has no impact on the overall taxes that you pay. It does have an impact on the cost to the sewer users, and it's a minimal one, but there's a small increase there for sewage usage, and still for 2015, wrought by the Vernon Township MUA, but we're still the least expensive sewer flow rate anywhere in the county, save the borough of the town of Newton. Shared services. This year we'll continue to benefit from shared services to the tune of $303,418. That's down $4,900, and the reason for that, frankly, you will recall my sharing with you that late last year, based upon some of the things that were happening in Sussex Borough, and based upon our needs for our CFO to devote her time here in the township and also as the CFO for the Municipal Utility Authority, we in fact terminated the agreement with Sussex Borough, and that's to provide CFO services. We have many others that are still in place. Sussex has since gotten themselves a part-time CFO. It was a seamless transition, but that results in a small decrease in the amount of revenue that we'll experience from that. In 2014, we put $320,000 into the capital improvement plan within the budget. This year, that number will be $190,000 because many of the projects that we needed those big numbers for in 14, 13, and 12 have been completed. And so we can easily reduce that number, and we did. Our debt service payments appropriations in 2015, we are increasing. In fact, we are paying off almost $60,000 more in 2015 than we did in 2014. That number is $2,617,623 that we are paying down on the amount of debt that Vernon Township has. We also are putting $150,000 into that sinking fund that we have been doing now. This would be the third year. And that sinking fund, as we've talked about in the past, is designed to have the money set aside at the point in time that we need to be dealing with either increased interest or increased payments to keep the tax rate level. Deferred charges this year are $240,000 as opposed to $200,000. That's an increase of $40,898. Reserve for uncollected taxes. Actually, in 2014, we had to set aside in our budget $2,377,566 to be sure that we had enough to pay the school and the county 100%, and at the same time be able to do that and in this year, 2015, because of a better tax collection rate, and because of the fact that we have foreclosed on many of the properties that the town owned tax certificates on, and I've talked to you about that in the past. Our reserve for uncollected taxes is $1,992,000, and that's a reduction of $385,000. And the other area that we have a reduction in 2014, we were the recipients of $700,000 plus in grants. So far this year, that number is at $98,000. We anticipate that it'll go up as we go through the year, and as that happens, we'll amend the budget appropriately at the present time. But the overall total appropriation for 2015 is $608,292 less than it was in 2014. I'll be right back.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. The last section of the budget that I'd like to deal with you has to do with the where we're at in terms of township tax impact. And I'm going to read some numbers to you, and I know that my producers will be putting them up at the screen when I do this, but I'd like to share with you that the 5-year municipal tax rate analysis is one that I'm very proud of, as well as the people who are part of this administration and part of this town council. Because you see, in 2011, Vernon Town residents paid 59.5 cents for every $100 of value of their home for municipal purposes in 2011. And that number has steadily come down over the last 4 years in the following progression. 58.4 cents was the rate in 2012. 57.4 cents was the rate in 2013. 56.9 was the rate in 2014. And this year's estimated rate is 57.6, which is actually 0.25% over 2014. But the 5-year average, the 5-year progression, is that your taxes are down 2 cents a hundred. Now, we all know that we can't go out and buy a car on that, and maybe we can't even go out and have a great dinner on that. But we came through a period of over 10 years where the property tax for local purposes in this town skyrocketed, while services and people and issues of safety and issues of capability within the DPW were absolutely slashed. The people who were involved in the manager-council form of government told you they were cutting the fat. After 4 years, I'm here to tell you in no uncertain terms, they didn't cut the fat, they cut the muscle, and they took the money and spent it somewhere else in the budget. And one of the things that I'm proudest of is that our department heads worked through that debacle and continued to deliver, as best they could, services to this township to keep us afloat. We've turned that corner, and now we are rebuilding the police department. If you've followed the news, as we've had senior officers retire, officers that were at a pay scale that was significantly higher than entry level, we've been able to add 2 for 1. And by the end of this year, Vernon Township, which had 28 police officers when I came into office, will have 32. And yet, the overall payroll for the police department is down. The same thing has occurred in the DPW department, and that's an area where we have used part-time people significantly in the summertime, maintaining our parks, in the recycling center, and we're even looking at part-time people to be used as relief in plowing in the winter season for 2015-16. But the result of that is this. The average house in Vernon Township is assessed, the value of it is assessed at $218,720. That means at 57.6 cents per hundred, that house or that homeowner would pay $1,260.91 in property taxes for local purposes. Ladies and gentlemen, that works out to be $100 a month that you pay for your police department, your road department, your emergency services, and all of the other things, recreation, maintenance of our assets, reconstruction and refurbishment of our roads and storm drains. You just stop and think about what I just said. For the average house, for $100 a month, that's what you get in return. And for those of you who have higher valued houses, if your house is worth twice that number, $436, your bill's $2,400, $2,520 a year, $200 a month. No matter how you cut it, no matter how you cut it, looking at what we pay for so many things in our life, in 2015, your local government is a good deal. I'll be back in just a minute.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
Hi, I'm Terry Naturally. Got pain? Are your muscles aching and crying out for relief? Would you like a safe product without side effects to stop your pain? Curamin is your answer. Curamin is an award-winning formula that relieves pain safely and naturally. Live pain-free and enjoy doing the things you love. Feel the amazing difference with Curamin and make each day a pain-free day. It'll stop your pain or your money back.
Available locally at Healthy Times Market in Vernon.
Welcome back. One of the highlights of this year's budget is in an area that actually is leading edge and has, in other towns, may very well be controversial. However, in Vernon Township, this year, we have budgeted for a stipend to be paid to every one of our volunteer emergency services people. Every one of our emergency services people being firemen and ambulance squad people who meet the criteria that is required to be a certified fireman or a certified EMT under the state statutes. In other words, not everybody's going to get the stipend, okay? Only those who qualify, and that means the number of hours, that means the number of responses to fires, that means the number of drills and practices, the number of courses that are taken, all of the requirements that are required for certification. When they are met, each individual who meets it will receive a $300 stipend. Now listen, your township leadership, and by the way, this program that I'm referring to, the leadership was provided by former council president and present councilman Brian Lynch. And it has been an objective of Brian's actually since the day that I met him to, in fact, begin to address what we all see as the potential on the horizon for people becoming disinterested and not enough people volunteering to keep our fire companies and ambulance squads healthy and functioning. Financially, we have taken care of their needs for equipment and housing and turnout gear for the firemen and educational courses for the emergency medical technicians who ride the ambulances. We work very, very well in conjunction with them. And all of those things that I just mentioned, not counting the stipend that we're talking about, represent 6% of our total budget. Ladies and gentlemen, do you have any idea what a fully paid ambulance or a fully paid fire company would cost Vernon Township? When you hear me thanking the emergency services people and letting them know just how much I hold them in high regard, it's on your behalf. Because like most of us, until you need them, it's like, who gives them a thought? And I must admit, as a citizen prior to sitting in this office, I probably thought the same thing. But I can tell you this, on my phone, every time that there's an ambulance call or a fire call that happens in this township, I'm notified by email message to my phone. And I can tell you, the numbers are staggering. Well in excess of 300 calls a month, well in excess by the 4 fire companies and ambulance squads together. I would tell you that there are times when that number gets to 400 and 500 calls a month. And so when Mr. Lynch came forward with the idea, at first I have to tell you I was somewhat skeptical. But as he rolled out his program, which has been tried in other places and tested in other places, and as he made known to the rest of the council and myself the criteria for people to participate, I got excited about it, again, on your behalf. We need our volunteers. The total cost of this program that I'm speaking about right now to you in 2015 will be $53,500. Ladies and gentlemen, in candor, that 0.25% that I talked about in terms of the tax increase is driven to a large extent by the decision of our council and this mayor to support that legislation and to support that program for our emergency services people. I simply want to tell you, the people of Vernon, they deserve it. And I want to tell you, the people who participate as volunteers, every word that you've ever heard from me about how important you are to this town comes from my heart and from my experience living in this town and from living with a nurse at the emergency room in Vernon Urgent Care who knows just how qualified all of you are and holds you in as high esteem as I do. I thank you for what you do. I'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Terry Naturally. Got pain? Are your muscles aching and crying out for relief? Would you like a safe product without side effects to stop your pain? Curamin is your answer. Curamin is an award-winning formula that relieves pain safely and naturally. Live pain-free and enjoy doing the things you love. Feel the amazing difference with Curamin and make each day a pain-free day. It'll stop your pain or your money back.
Available locally at Healthy Times Market in Vernon.
Vernon Vibes is brought to you in part by United Water, the official water company of Vernon Township. United Water, involved in the communities they serve.
The Vernon Independent Retailers Association reminds you that when you shop locally, you're helping to build our community by supporting local employment and keeping your tax dollars in our community. Support the Vernon Independent Retailers who support you. Brought to you by The Copy Center, H&H Auto Parts, Healthy Times Market, Heaven Hill Farm, Lakeland Pool and Spa, McAfee Hardware, McAfee Ski and Snowboard, Valley Paint and Hardware, and Vernon Tire and Auto Center. Come in, we're local.
Welcome back. I know this evening's program has been a lot of numbers and a lot of things to digest. However, I believe it's important for every citizen to understand what we're doing here. And when I say that we're in excellent shape in the State of the Township message, it's backed up by fact. When I say that the township has done its job well and the department heads have done their job and the employees have done their job, I know that to be the truth. Is everything perfect? No. But I can tell you, it's a darn sight better than it was when I found it. And it'll be a darn sight better when I leave it. Thank you for your faith in me. Thank you for your faith in your council. Thank you for knowing that we are working on your behalf as a team. And to be frank with you, it's my honor to be a part of that team. See you next time.